on all my tours, I focused all the time on Berlin, right? You could see Berlin, the area of Berlin, Sachsenhausen, and so on. This tour right now, we will go to the south of Germany in a place called Bavaria. Very, very nice place. Beautiful place with a lot of lakes and the no, mountains and everything. So it's a really, really nice one. I recommend that. They have also very good beer in the south of Germany. And not only Bavaria as a state is a beautiful place, also the capital of Bavaria, of the state, it's called Munich or München. It's over 1 million people city, but still having the flair of a small village. So that's also nice. A little bit more expensive. There are other cities in Germany, one of the most expensive, but still worth to visit. And in the north of Munich, there's a small city called Dachau. Or in English, you say Dachau. And that city was famous for art and music. But today, that city is famous or infamous only for one thing. And that's the concentration camp of Dachau. So we will visit that place today. But as always, we will focus on the history of Jehovah's Witnesses. So I put this under a theme, and the theme is unwavering faith in God in a godless place. Dachau is a godless place. And we will follow the stories of a few heroes. And I put here the name of these few heroes, and I understand that it's difficult to remember these names, especially their German names. So I decided to give to all these heroes some nicknames. The nicknames are because of what they did, how they act, what they were known for. And I hope that the nicknames will be easier for you, to remember. There will be also some, let's say, some heroes, some man that we talk about. We will talk only about man, only about brothers, made Jehovah's Witnesses, because that camp was only for man. There were no women. So that's why all our stories will be around brothers, about female Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, and the special appearances and that we will talk about. One, I think it's a new maybe name for us, or not very known one. That's Hubert Matiszek. We will watch a short interview that was recorded for the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C., when you will tell us his story in Dachau. But the other one, you definitely know Adolf Arnold. That's Simon Arnold's liebster father. And we will go chronologically. So let's start with the year 1933.
After Adolf Hitler was appointed Reich Chancellor on January 30, 1933, the National Socialists used an array of terror measures to establish a dictatorship in the German Reich. The persecution and elimination of all political opposition plays a pivotal role. Concentration camps are opened across the Reich to facilitate the mass imprisonment of political opponents. The Dachau concentration camp is one of these early sites. On March 22, 1933, the first prisoner transports arrive at the camp set up on the grounds of a disused gunpowder and munition factory. The camp commandant, Theodor Eicke, introduces a system in October 1933 that includes brutal punishment rules for the prisoners and duty orders for the camp SS. The regulations institutionalize SS rule over the prisoners that is characterized by tyranny and terror.
So 1933, 30th of January, the Nazis start to rule in Germany. And just 4 weeks after this happens, the Reichstag, like the German White House, burns. And what a coincidence, because this is considered as the attack on the German democracy. And the coincidence is that in that night, when this building burns completely down, they found that only one person that was responsible for this burning. Wow, one guy. And they get him. And what a coincidence. That one guy is a communist, the political opponent of the Nazis. So now, in the same night, the Nazis created a new law. And based on that law, they could put enemies of the state into prison. And who were the enemy of the state? The communists, because they burned the Reichstag. But the same law was also used to put Jehovah's Witnesses into prison. And on the 20th of March, so it's not even 2 months after the Nazis start to rule, in Dachau, they start to build the first official concentration camp. And that first official concentration camp were political opponents, not Jews. This was for communists and for Jehovah's Witnesses. Because already on the 13th of April, so that's 2.5 months later, Jehovah's Witnesses are officially banned in the state of Bavaria. And then this bans expanded to other states. The last one was Prussia, that's where Berlin is, on the 24th of June. What were the reasons why you could be arrested? Of course, preaching, meetings, smuggling literature, yeah. But in Bavaria, even you could get arrested and put into the concentration camp because you were talking about Jehovah with your mate, your friend, your kids, your parents. So you were not really preaching. You will have a private conversation with somebody. Why this was so brutal? Because Bavaria, the state of Bavaria, got special help from a group that hated Jehovah's Witnesses. Who were these people? Who was that group? The Catholic Church. The Catholic Church had no problem to raise the right hand and shout Heil Hitler. So we have a new Messiah. It's not Jesus Christ anymore. The Heil, the salvation, is not coming from Jesus Christ. No, it's now coming from Adolf Hitler. The Catholic Church cooperated with the Nazis wherever they could. And one cooperation was get all witnesses into prison. Because the witnesses were not shouting Heil Hitler. And the explanation was why? Because we are Christians. Oh, I thought Catholics are also Christians. So this is what the witnesses did. They put a mirror in front of the Catholic Church and showed, nope, you are not Christians because you showed Heil Hitler and you forgot about the real Messiah, the real Christ Jesus. So Jehovah's Witnesses, they got banned and, for example, had to walk through the city with a plaque like this, where it's written, I'm a traitor of the country because I did not vote it. So who we will talk about today? Let's introduce our heroes. This is Josef Buchner. His nickname is the Saint. Why we call him the Saint? Because this is how his colleagues at work call him. 1933, he got his first contact with Jehovah's Witnesses in Austria. And he starts to read the Bible so many times, so often, that his colleagues called him, oh, you're a saint guy. Next hero, Johannes, or how his friends called him, Hans Gärtner. His nickname will be for today, the Barber. Why? Yeah. He became a Jehovah's Witness. 1933, he married his wife, who was not a Jehovah's Witness. And his mother-in-law, who was also not a Jehovah's Witness, she bought him a salon, and he became, he had his own business as a barber in his hometown. Another person that we will talk about is Christian Kaltwasser. His nickname will be the neighbor. Why? Because he was the neighbor of our barber. He became 1919 a witness, a very active Jehovah's Witness, despite a family of 3 children. Why I'm saying despite? Please remember, 1920s from my former tours, it was so difficult to get enough money to feed your family. So if you have 3 kids, a wife and yourself, a family of 5, and being an active Jehovah's Witness, amazing. But he also refused to say Heil Hitler. And that's why on his door was always a sign, this is where the traitor Christian Kaltwasser lives. Another hero that we'll talk about, one of my favorite stories of today, is Helmut Knöller. We'll call him the tall one. Why? Because he was a tall guy. And his parents became Jehovah's Witnesses when he was 13 years old. And from that moment, he's persecuted at school. And because he's so tall, doesn't matter where he stands, in the front or in the back on the class, everybody knew when Helmut didn't raise his right hand and didn't shout at Heil Hitler. And the humiliation was really hard. The principal was shouting that this man stinks, this kid stinks in front of everybody. And one thing that I think was really hard for him was he asked in front of everybody, Helmut, can your God, the one that you hope, give you even a piece of bread? Because Adolf Hitler can. He proved it. I'm pretty sure that for a 13-year-old kid, this must be very, very difficult. And we will hear more about him. And another hero that we talk about is Martin Pötzinger. I decided not to give him a nickname because he's a known guy. And we will also not talk a lot about him because there's a lot of information in the Watcher Library. I want to encourage you to read about his and his wife's story. We will talk on the end a little more, but he also, was in this camp in Dachau, in this concentration camp.